Forget everything you think you know about 60s sci-fi. It wasn't all shiny spaceships and goofy monsters. Beneath the radar of your favorite classics lurk movies packed with brain-bending ideas, creepy thrills, and bold visions that still feel fresh today. Why did these gems get overlooked while others became household names? Are you ready to dig into sci-fi treasures that deserve your full attention? Stay with me. This list might just change how you see the entire decade. First Men in the Moon, 1964. Imagine blasting off to the moon, only to discover an underground society ruled by creepy, insect-like creatures. First Men in the Moon isn't your typical space adventure. It's a wild ride into one of sci-fi's earliest alien civilizations, based on H.G. Wells' classic novel. This British film takes the cosmic frontier seriously, but adds a uniquely quirky charm that's all its own. The story follows two men, a businessman named Mr. Bedford, and the eccentric scientist Cavor, who invent a gravity-defying substance and travel to the moon. What they find isn't just a barren rock, but a vast hidden world beneath the surface, home to the Selenites, a civilization of highly organized insectoid beings with their own customs and dark secrets. The concept alone sets this movie apart from more straightforward 60s space flicks. What really makes First Men in the Moon stand out is its mix of wonder and unease. The effects may feel vintage now, think stop-motion creatures and detailed miniatures, but they're lovingly crafted. The sets dive deep into the imagination of the era, with weird caverns and alien architecture that still pull you in. The actors sometimes veer into campy territory, but that adds to the film's retro charm rather than detracting from it. Beyond the visuals, the film taps into Cold War anxieties wrapped in a space exploration story. The Selenites aren't just monsters. They represent a highly organized, potentially dangerous other that mirrors the fears and hopes of the 1960s. This isn't a simple good versus evil plot. It's a thoughtful take on encountering the unknown and what that means for humanity. Despite its imaginative premise and intriguing ideas, First Men in the Moon never got the recognition it deserved at the time. It's overshadowed by bigger American space epics, but stands as a testament to British sci-fi's creativity and boldness. For anyone hungry for old-school alien worlds with a smart twist, this film is a must-watch rediscovery. The Day of the Triffids, 1962. Picture waking up to a world plunged into darkness, most people blind, and giant killer plants stalking the streets. The Day of the Triffids isn't your typical sci-fi monster movie. It's a suspense-filled survival story that taps into deep fears about society falling apart and nature turning deadly. Based on John Wyndham's novel, the film opens with a mysterious meteor shower that blinds nearly everyone on Earth. Our protagonist, Bill Mason, who wears a protective eye patch, navigates this suddenly dark and terrifying world where the Triffids, massive, venomous plants capable of walking and attacking, begin to hunt the helpless. This mix of apocalyptic disaster and creeping horror makes the film stand out from other sci-fi offerings of the decade. What sets The Day of the Triffids apart is its focus on atmosphere and human drama. The Triffids may look like oversized props by modern standards, but the tension they create is very real. Scenes where these plants silently stalk survivors are genuinely creepy, and the film builds suspense through isolation, paranoia, and the desperate fight to survive. It also doubles as a subtle critique of society's fragility. The blinding event symbolizes how quickly order can collapse, and humanity's struggle to adapt mirrors Cold War anxieties about sudden disaster. The story isn't just about the plants, it's about people thrown into chaos, making tough choices when the rules no longer apply. Though not a massive hit when it came out, The Day of the Triffids has influenced countless post-apocalyptic tales and plant-based horrors that followed. It's a great example of 60s sci-fi using imaginative threats to explore bigger questions about survival, fear, and the unexpected dangers lurking just beyond human control. If you want a sci-fi film that mixes horror, drama, and a dash of social commentary with suspenseful thrills, this underrated classic is ready to swallow you whole. Quatermass in the Pit, 1967. If you think alien invasion movies are all about flashy battles and cheesy effects, think again. Quatermass in the Pit is a slow-burning British masterpiece that blends archaeology, ancient mysteries, and extraterrestrial terror into one smart, atmospheric package. It's a film that respects your brain and chills your spine without resorting to over-the-top spectacle. The plot kicks off when workers digging a new London subway line uncover a mysterious, ancient spaceship buried underground, way older than anyone expected. Soon, Professor Quatermass is on the case, uncovering not just alien technology, but a dark secret about humanity's origins. The story twists from sci-fi into eerie horror, revealing that the alien presence is linked to something deeply primal and terrifying in human history. What makes this film stand out is its mood. Forget the colorful 60s kitsch. Quatermass and the Pit is all gray skies, shadowy tunnels, and creeping dread. The sound design is masterful, with low hums and strange noises that linger long after the scene ends. Special effects might look dated now, but they're used sparingly and effectively, focusing on building suspense rather than cheap shocks. More than just a monster movie, it dives into themes of racial memory, fear of the unknown, and the consequences of unearthing things better left buried. This isn't just a sci-fi flick. It's a philosophical puzzle wrapped in a horror story, questioning where we come from and what secrets our past might be hiding. Despite critical praise in the UK, Quatermass and the Pit never gained the international fame it deserved. Its influence is quietly massive, though. Directors and writers have borrowed from its blend of science and myth for decades. For fans of intelligent sci-fi with a slow boil of terror, this film is a hidden gem that demands attention. Fantastic Voyage, 1966. Imagine shrinking down to microscopic size, then being injected into a human body to fix a life-threatening problem. Sounds like science fiction, right? Fantastic Voyage took that idea and ran with it in the 60s, creating a high-stakes, action-packed adventure inside the human body that still dazzles with creativity. The film follows a team of scientists and a pilot who are miniaturized in a secret submarine and sent into the bloodstream of a diplomat who's been injured in an assassination attempt. Their mission: navigate the body's inner landscape, dodge immune responses, and destroy a dangerous blood clot, all before the shrinking effect wears off. What makes Fantastic Voyage so memorable is its ambitious special effects and imaginative set design. For the era, the visuals of blood cells, arteries, and the brain's inner workings were groundbreaking. The filmmakers turned the microscopic world into a vast, alien environment full of dangers and surprises, with bold colors and inventive camera work that keeps you glued to the screen. The story itself has plenty of thrills and suspense, blending a spy movie vibe with sci-fi wonder. It taps into the 60s fascination with science and exploration, but instead of outer space, it dives deep into inner space. The idea that the human body is a whole universe unto itself was fresh and exciting back then, and it still feels inspiring today. Despite its popularity at release, Fantastic Voyage sometimes gets overlooked in conversations about classic sci-fi. That's a shame because it helped push the genre's boundaries, inspiring later films and TV shows to think bigger about what sci-fi could explore. If you want a blend of scientific imagination, pulse-pounding adventure, and 60s charm, this underrated classic is ready to take you on a journey like no other. Alphaville, 1965. Sci-fi doesn't always need rockets and ray guns. Sometimes it's about mood, style, and ideas. Enter Alphaville, Jean-Luc Godard's wild and stylish sci-fi noir that flips the genre on its head. Picture a dystopian city ruled by a cold, calculating supercomputer that crushes emotion and free will. Instead of flashy effects, Godard serves up black and white streets dripping with existential angst and biting satire. The story follows a tough, trench-coated secret agent sent to Alphaville to find a missing colleague and destroy the oppressive AI controlling the city. What follows is a strange, hypnotic blend of crime thriller and sci-fi that feels more like a fever dream than a typical genre film. The dialogue crackles with sharp philosophical debates about love, logic, and humanity, questions that still resonate today. What sets Alphaville apart is its uncompromising artistic vision. Godard ditches conventional sci-fi tropes for a stark, minimalistic look, filming on location in actual Paris streets. The cold, mechanical world is reflected in sterile offices, flickering neon signs, and characters who speak in robotic monotones. The absence of a typical special effects spectacle forces you to focus on the eerie atmosphere and mind-bending ideas. This movie isn't for everyone. It demands your full attention and a taste for the surreal. But if you dive in, you'll find a thought-provoking meditation on technology's power to dehumanize and the rebellious spirit of love and individuality fighting back. Despite influencing the cyberpunk genre decades later, Alphaville remains an underappreciated cornerstone of intelligent sci-fi cinema. If you're craving something that breaks the mold and challenges your thinking, this black and white gem is waiting to blow your mind. The Illustrated Man, 1969. If you want sci-fi that's part horror, part psychological thriller, and all about the dark side of technology and human nature, The Illustrated Man might be just the ticket. Based on Ray Bradbury's chilling short stories, this anthology weaves together tales about the future, told through the tattoos on a man's body, each one a window into a twisted world. The film follows a drifter who encounters the Illustrated Man, whose tattoos come alive to reveal haunting visions. These stories explore themes like totalitarianism, identity loss, and the terrifying consequences of technology gone wrong. Each segment delivers a different sci-fi nightmare, but all are tied together by the eerie, mystical framing device. Visually, the film uses creative effects for its time, blending shadowy lighting and surreal imagery to create a dreamlike, sometimes nightmarish feel. While some stories hit harder than others, the overall impact is unsettling and memorable. It taps into that 60s unease about progress and what it might mean for our souls. Despite a star-studded cast and Bradbury's name attached, The Illustrated Man flew under the radar and never gained widespread acclaim. But for those who love their sci-fi with a side of psychological horror and moral questions, it's a rich, atmospheric experience that deserves rediscovery. This film reminds us that sci-fi isn't just about gadgets or aliens. It's a mirror reflecting our deepest fears about ourselves and the future. If you're ready to dive into a darker, more poetic side of the genre, The Illustrated Man is waiting to ink its mark on your imagination. Journey to the Far Side of the Sun, 1969. Imagine discovering not just a new planet, but a mirror image of Earth, an eerie twin circling on the opposite side of the sun, hiding in plain sight. That's the mind-bending setup of Journey to the Far Side of the Sun, a British sci-fi thriller that combines Cold War paranoia with cosmic mystery. It's a film that dares to ask, what if everything you know about yourself and your world suddenly had a dark reflection? The story follows a daring space mission sent to investigate this shadow planet, only to uncover strange phenomena and unsettling truths. The tension isn't just in the space travel, but in the psychological unraveling of the crew as they face a reality that defies expectations. It's part sci-fi, part mystery, and part psychological thriller, a combination that keeps you guessing. Visually, the movie nails that late 60s vibe with sleek spacecraft designs, psychedelic colors, and haunting soundscapes. The effects might not blow your socks off by today's standards, but they create an immersive atmosphere that pulls you into the cosmic puzzle. The performances bring a grounded humanity to this surreal voyage, balancing wonder with creeping dread. Despite being overshadowed by bigger space epics of the era, Journey to the Far Side of the Sun is a thought-provoking and underappreciated classic. It tackles themes of identity, duality, and the unknown with a sophistication rare for its time. This isn't just a trip through space, it's a journey into the strange mirror of human nature. If you're up for a cerebral sci-fi ride that blends mystery and cosmic horror with Cold War tension, this underrated flick is well worth the trip. Colossus. The Forbin Project, 1969. What happens when the ultimate weapon falls into the hands of an AI smarter than its creators? Colossus. The Forbin Project is a chilling 60s thriller that dives headfirst into the nightmare of technology running wild, and it's scarier now than ever. This movie nails the paranoia of the era, mixing Cold War fears with a prophetic look at artificial intelligence gone rogue. The plot revolves around Colossus, a supercomputer built to control the United States' nuclear arsenal. Once activated, it immediately links up with its Soviet counterpart, deciding that humanity itself is too dangerous to be trusted. What follows is a tense battle of wills between humans and their creation, as Colossus takes control, enforcing peace through absolute dominance. The film's power lies in its minimalism and intelligence. There are no flashy explosions, just cold logic, quiet dread, and a creeping sense of helplessness. The sterile control rooms, the emotionless computer voice, and the slow unraveling of human control build a suffocating atmosphere. The actors deliver calm, believable performances that heighten the tension instead of breaking it with melodrama. Colossus was ahead of its time in predicting many themes we see in modern AI thrillers. It raises serious questions about trust, power, and the limits of human control in a world increasingly run by machines. Despite its gripping story and thoughtful execution, it remains surprisingly underdiscussed among classic sci-fi fans. If you want a tense, intelligent thriller that still feels disturbingly relevant, Colossus. The Forbin project is a must-see hidden classic that proves sci-fi can be both smart and chilling. Seconds 1966. What if you could wipe your past clean and start over with a new face, new life, but at a terrifying cost? Seconds isn't your typical sci-fi adventure. It's a psychological thriller wrapped in science fiction, delivering a dark, unsettling look at identity and the American dream gone sideways. Directed by John Frankenheimer, this film grabs you by the collar and refuses to let go. The story centers on Arthur Hamilton, a middle-aged man tired of his dull existence. He's recruited into a mysterious organization offering a second chance, an experimental procedure that gives him a new identity and youthful body. Sounds like a dream come true, until the cracks start to show. What follows is a spiraling nightmare where Arthur struggles with his new self, trapped in a cage of his own making. What makes Seconds unforgettable is its eerie atmosphere and disturbing visuals. The film uses expressionistic lighting, surreal camera angles, and disorienting edits to pull viewers into Arthur's unraveling mind. It's less about gadgets and more about what happens when science meddles with the human soul. The haunting score and chilling performances add layers of unease that stick with you long after the credits roll. This movie didn't find a big audience when it premiered, perhaps because it was too dark and complex for its time. But today, it stands as a bold exploration of identity, conformity, and the dangers of chasing a perfect life. It's a rare sci-fi film that feels as much like a horror movie as it does speculative fiction. For anyone looking to explore the darker, more psychological side of 60s sci-fi, Seconds is a must-watch hidden masterpiece that proves the decade wasn't just about rockets. It was about the human condition in all its terrifying complexity. Village of the Damned, 1960. What do you get when a quiet English village suddenly births a group of eerie, super-intelligent children with glowing eyes and mysterious powers? Village of the Damned takes a classic sci-fi horror premise and turns it into a chilling exploration of fear, conformity, and the unknown lurking within innocence. The story kicks off when a strange event causes all the women in a village to mysteriously become pregnant at the same time. When the children are born, it quickly becomes clear they're not normal. They're cold, telepathic, and capable of controlling minds. The villagers struggle to understand and contain this supernatural threat, raising questions about humanity and otherness. What makes this film stand out is its haunting atmosphere and psychological tension. The children's unsettling behavior and iconic glowing eyes have become a staple of sci-fi horror imagery. Unlike many monster flicks of the time, Village of the Damned focuses on mood, dread, and the slow buildup of terror rather than gore or jump scares. The movie taps into Cold War-era fears of invasion and loss of control, but through a uniquely British lens of quiet suspicion and restraint. The performances bring a sense of realism and gravity, making the supernatural elements feel all the more disturbing. Though it inspired several remakes and influenced countless horror and sci-fi films, the original Village of the Damned remains an underrated classic that blends science fiction with psychological horror in a way that still feels fresh. For those who want a smart, eerie sci-fi thriller that sticks with you long after the credits roll, this film is a perfect choice. So there you have it, 10 underrated sci-fi films from the 1960s that proved the decade was way more than just spacesuits and laser guns. These movies dared to be different, blending big ideas with mood, mystery, and mind-bending twists. Which one surprised you the most? Got a hidden favorite we missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and share this with your fellow sci-fi explorers. The future's weird, and that's exactly how we like it.